Genmitsu RENO 4040 CNC, sitting right here, mostly on a camera view. Had this about a year, and people always say, well, you know, you review these things, you never see them again. Well, yes, I do. I use it for various different things. So what's my opinion of this? This is, of course, an upgrade from a 3018 Pro Ver, which I had, and I have another brand of CNC too that is 3030. However, this is a 4040. It gives you a little bit more room. I know it's not a $5,000 CNC. It's not high-end by any means. But if you're wanting to get your feet wet and get into using a CNC and want to learn about it, and you think a 3018 is just too tiny, well, this might be up your alley, but it has a couple things that it's lacking. And I'm going to get into that here. This is not sponsored by any means. This is what I think of it after using it for a year. I'm going to show you a couple of the things that I don't like. Okay, we'll start off here with the drive. This is driven by stepper motors on each side and a belt, a tooth belt like you see on a lot of open frame lasers and on 3D printers, etc. So it's not an axial drive, it is belt drive. So no, that is not ideal. Do I have any slop in this? No, there's no slop, so that's not a problem. And I haven't had any issues with it. I have the everything is set right with the eccentrics and the wheels and the proper thing here, so that's not a problem. The spindle, like most of the entry-level CNCs, this is drastically underpowered. It does run an 1/8 inch end mill just fine and a V-carve bit, but I am going to upgrade this. I have the larger piece to put up here to actually put a trim router on it, and I bought one at Lowe's of all places. They had a trim router with a ER11 collet on it, which will let me do both 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch bits. So that's an upgrade I'm going to be doing, but again, this is underpowered. Belt drive is not ideal, but it does work okay for my application here. Now my biggest complaint, and I'm going to move my little palm tree here that we just got done cutting, is this. This is a two-piece bed, and when I put it on a year ago, it was all just fine and perfect and perfectly level and everything. Problem is it's two-piece, and it's not supported underneath. This is just a piece of couple pieces of 1/2 inch MDF that are screwed in. Well, what has happened is you not only have flex here between the two pieces, hopefully you can see that, and I don't have to press all that hard to flex them, but it has now sagged in the center. So if you look up here at the front where my hand is, down there a little bit better, I'm going to zoom in on this. You can see where one of my projects actually went down into the spoil board up here, but not back here. So what I ended up with, I got a good through cut here, had a good through cut right here, but as I got back here, I did not have a through cut because this has sagged in the center. If I put a straight edge over that, there's several thousandths of an inch difference between the front and the back and the center. So that's something they need to improve on that. So what about ease of use? Any CNC, I don't care what brand you get, you are going to have a learning curve. You're not just going to be able to throw it together and say, oh boy, I'm going to start making stuff. You're going to have to learn. Let's say you don't want to make your own design. You buy a design or you pick one from somewhere. You're going to have to get into the cam of it. That's you're going to have to be able to set tool paths. You're going to have to be able to pick your tool, the speed, the feed. It's going to be according to what material you have. It is not super simple like a lot of people think. Not impossible, but as with anything, it has a learning curve and you're going to have to learn how to use it. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about CNC software, and I'm not going to get into all the different varieties and colors or whatever of it out there. Well, I use what they call CarveCo. You pay for it. It's a monthly thing. I'm kind of in the minority of our little CNC group that I use CarveCo, and everybody else uses, well, it could be Carbide Create, it could be, there's a lot of them out there. I just happen to use CarveCo. If you're just getting started, there is a free software, it's called Easel. But learning curve again, you're going to have to get used to it. To send your G code, I use Universal G-Code Center called UGS, UGS. You can also use, if you're just starting out, you can use what they call Candle. It's very, very, very simple to use. It's really basic. It's the same as Easel for your CAM software. Use the free version of it. It's very, very simple. It's very, very basic. That'll kind of get you started. And then you can decide what softwares you want to get into and what you want to use for G-Code Center. But Universal G-Code Center, it's a free thing. You can download. It works well. As I said, this is not a high-end CNC. This is what I would call entry level. You want something bigger than a 3018 with that little bitty footprint. This will work. My biggest thing about this is the bed on it. I wish it was something a little more substantial. I may make something a little bit more substantial for it. The belt drive is not ideal, but it does work fine. I am going to upgrade the spindle on this. This is my biggest CNC because I don't do a whole lot of CNC work. I have another one that's a 3030 from Analex, but I use that for machining aluminum and copper, not wood. And it has a bigger spindle motor on it, and it's just a whole different animal. But as I said, people say, well, you review these things and never see them again. Well, here it is a year later. What do I think of it? As I said, if you're on entry level, yeah, this would be right up your alley. If you've got a bigger budget and you want something bigger and more heavy duty, and you want to say with Genmitsu SaneSmart brand, you go to the 4040 Pro because it won't have that belt drive on it. But I don't think they have done anything better with this bed. That's just a bad design. You need to have something a little bit more substantial there. Even if it was a single piece of, let's say, 3/4 MDF, it wouldn't sag over time, I wouldn't think. But you wouldn't have all the little hold down holes either. You'd have to make your own, but that's what they make T-nuts for, so that's not that hard to do. So again, quick thing about the SaneSmart Reno 4040. Just want to bring up the good and the bad points of it. It does work. It makes stuff. I've done a lot of things with it, but kind of see the caveats at it too. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Always helps the channel. I'll put a link in the description to SaneSmart where to get this. And this isn't sponsored, so even if you buy one, I don't get anything out of it. Thanks for watching. I'm Roger in the shop. See you in the next one.